This Fleet Equipment Unscripted interview is presented by Hendrickson, a leading manufacturer of heavy-duty suspension systems and components to the global commercial transportation industry. Visit hendrickson-intl.com to learn more.
Hi everyone, I am Jason Morgan, Content Director for Fleet Equipment, and welcome to Fleet Equipment Unscripted. Clearly a little different today. We're down in the Babcock's video studio. I have Charles Harris, Vice President of Aftermarket with NTN, who stopped in for a visit. Charles, thanks for joining me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Jason. Always a pleasure to come visit you guys.
So give me, NTN, the bearing world, give me a rundown of what's new. I mean, we've all gone through a lot of changes in the past 2 years. It's good to catch up. What's new with NTN, and where's your big focus right now?
Right now, our big focus, when you talk about fleets, our big focus is that it's interesting. Most people always want to focus on the product end of it. Mm-hmm. We like to focus on the customer end of it. Right. And we're looking for opportunities on how we can enhance our customer experience with buying and installing our products. Right. So one of the things that we're doing, Jason, now is we're looking at the ACEs and PIEs data, yes, and how that can work into the heavy duty side of the business. Yes. So we're getting that all in place for our customers to make sure that they have an easy experience in looking up and selling our products moving forward. Right. Another thing that we're looking at also is what we call our WTF, our work truck fleet. And people will say, well, what's work truck fleet? Well, you can't go down the street, you can't go for a walk without seeing some type of truck with an arrow on it or something like that. Kidding. But you got the Rams, you got all those, the Mercedes and all those trucks out there. And there's light to medium duty trucks, but there's great opportunity because people don't realize that most of those fleets are independent. Yep. They're not even owned by the major companies. They're independent fleets with great service opportunities for us. So we put together a good sales package for our customers to go out and sell that into the marketplace. So we're making that a focus for us as we're moving forward as well.
Right, very cool. And just a quick background, just so that everyone knows too, the ACEs and PIEs is basically the aftermarket product nomenclature in a data standard so that you can find those like descriptions, and because it's kind of the Wild West even now still today of how different companies present aftermarket product info to the industry. And so the biggest problem is just tracking down parts. Tracking the parts, right?
Yes, so, that is correct.
So very cool focus there, and 100% on that last mile application, and how, to your point, not only are they independent companies, they're often very small companies. I mean, years ago, it's been way longer than I'm going to say now. I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we saw how the startup of Amazon spinning up and saying, hey, if you got 10 grand, we can get you a van and you can start delivering. And now we see it all the time. But yeah, the onus is on that person, and maybe I have a van or 2 or 3, and I don't know. You know, this is new to me. I'm basically now a fleet manager.
Exactly,
right?
that's correct.
So having to have that information. So finding the product and getting more information out there is great, but one of the big topics that we've all been talking about now too are supply chain, which is universal across the world basically now, not just the truck segment or your supplier segment. But how are you managing your supply lines and still being able to get the product flow you need to meet the demand?
Yeah, you can't even walk into a meeting with any customer or with a supplier and not have that same issues when it comes to labor, whether it be steel costs, whether it be freight, because of what's going on with the supply chain today. And we face those same issues. But we believe you got to be creative. Look for different ways, whether it be via rail versus truck in certain instances. Depends on where you got the bottleneck at and getting your product to your DCs. But we've been kind of fortunate on our side of the business because most of our production is local, especially when it comes to our Bauer product. It is manufactured either in Hamilton, Alabama, or Macomb, Illinois. And so we have the local supply. So we've been lucky in that regard in getting our product to our customer. But we still face some of the same challenges as everyone else in the market with the cost of it. So like I say, you got to be creative. You got to sit down. You got to have opportunities to actually meet with your customers and have them give you their input too. And more importantly, forecasting has been so key to us staying on top of it. Now, what we've been able to do is we always put our customers first, but with the supply chain issues, we've been able to help out customers that aren't our customers as well, who they've had issues with some of their suppliers and who are, get most of their product internationally. Right. So we help out where we can with other customers in the marketplace as well, as long as we fulfill the needs of our customer base first.
Right. Well, and what's interesting, we were talking a little earlier before the cameras started rolling, just about the differentiator that you go to market with of the quality of your sourcing and what you go there too. So I mean, and those have to be hard decisions too, because
Yes.
to your point, you all really put a focus on maintaining that top quality
Yes.
and never letting that dip. So still meeting those needs, meeting that quality, and not maybe looking other places has to be a challenge.
Exactly, and we have one saying: if we don't make it, it doesn't go in our Bauer box.
Yep.
That's just the way it is. If we don't make the product, it doesn't go in, and it has to have that OE quality when we ship it out. So.
Right, yeah, because whether the industry is doing great or whether the industry
Yes.
is facing challenges, you got to have that.
We got our
consistency,
reputation
right?
to maintain.
So switching gears to something a little more maybe fun, right? A little more lighthearted than the supply challenges that we're all facing. But we're seeing a huge shift in the market now with the advent of electric vehicles, zero emission powertrain, hydrogen. A lot of OEMs and suppliers, especially on the powertrain side, are shifting focus to go down that road. What does that mean to you and how you all view the market as you see some of these sea changes happening?
Again, we feel very fortunate with the categories that we're in, mainly because those cars still and trucks still have to roll down the road. So our products are still very needed, but we're always looking at ways to lighten up our product, to get more efficient, to get it smoother down the road for our customers. So those are some of the things we're doing from an R&D standpoint. And we also sit down and we really like to go back to the old school things of having brainstorming. And when I talk brainstorming, we take it to all different levels within our company. We do it in my business unit. We do it within the president's unit with his executive team. And I take it to another level, Jason. I take it home with me too as well. And we do brainstorming. My two children, Kyle and Kendra, we sit down. They don't even know they're brainstorming, but they're actually brainstorming. I have this thing where I say, in order to stay on top of things, everyone always say, oh, your kids learn so much from you and they grow up to be you. I think we learn more from our kids as we get older and get a little bit more mature. And so I like to get their thoughts and ideas too, as well as what's going on in the market. What do you see out there? What's happening in your travels and things like that? Because they get around much more than we did when we were their ages. So
right. Well, and even to that point, I know you've got a strong foothold in the heavy duty. You play in the automotive side too, and even just kind of getting that perspective on. We've seen EVs start to roll out on the equipment side, and what's been cool is that they actually meet demand and they can be used in certain applications. And now we're getting into some larger conversations of infrastructure and that kind of stuff. But then even serving the automotive, getting that perspective from your kids, they got to be like there's got to be a point in the conversation where like, is this a test?
Is this a test? Exactly.
And then you just wait a minute.
Yeah, you try to ease it in, between the dessert and the main meal, but you slip it in there from here to there. So
well, yeah, that's very. And a couple of things I just wanted to note that you called out here, and we talked a little earlier. About the commonalities in a lot of the parts segments, especially that you play in on EVs, and we've already seen it in the market. You look at either the Volvo VNR electric or even the Freightliner e-Cascadia are built on the Volvo side, the VNR chassis, and the VNR cab, right? It's the powertrain changes, right? Same thing on the Freightliner Cascadia side. They use the bones of the Cascadia. And so in a lot of your segments, there's a lot of commonalities there. I know there's a lot of trepidation about big changes and all that too, but it's also good to remember the commonalities.
Yes.
And how you have to, on the bearing side, I know there's the trade-off of, even just on the engineering side, you want to always push efficiency in that smooth ride, but you always want to maintain durability.
Durability and quality.
Right. We see it on the diesel engine side with some of those lubricants too. It's like, but the balance, always moving forward, always really cool to see what's going on there.
Great.
I really appreciate you taking the time to stop in. Always great catching up with you.
My pleasure.
Doors open anytime.
All right. Thank you.